Hey, gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started because we're going to have David on the phone imminently, and DJ will be on the phone in 10 minutes.
Okay.
So, in spirit of keep things going, we'll move it. For the minutes, Rick did not share those with me, so we will bypass those for now. Moving on to financial report, Jim Miller, Joe Bockel.
Okay, did anybody get the ones I sent out there? Tom, did you get
Yes.
something? Okay.
Here, I'll
I sent
I'll
it to
share
Tom,
them.
Rick, and Rick, I think, so.
You want me to share them so you can see them, or not, is it not necessary?
Well, it depends on, if you can do that, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah, I can do that.
everything's updated on there as of today, except that I tried to get the SIU update from Susan Graham, and she was driving in her car when she called me, and she's going to get it to me later today, or she's going to text it to me. I haven't got it yet, so that's really not a big thing as far as an overall picture, as far as what we've got with either one of the foundations, which is, it's tied up there. It's not something we're going to be using. So no, you look at that as of today, the operations account, that's what we, pay the bills and do everything else with. We're at 4327.22. The rental account 197.74. That's just because I keep above $100 in that. The escrow account normally is at $3,800, but it's at $3,000 right now because they don't have enough in the rental account to put that $800 back in there yet. Crowd change account, that's our internet account, so it stays right there a little above $100, so we don't get a service charge. That is an updated amount from TAJ as of Monday, $20,088.12. And that does reflect the $17,000 that was paid to National as of the end of June. So that is his current balance. Receivables, I have June, July, and August. Actually, September is due now, but Blake is on here, I think, and he'll indicate. I think there is actually a payment in the mail, but it didn't come today when I got home. So
yes, I
that's
sent
where
that
we're
on
at.
Friday. So if you haven't gotten it
Okay.
yet, you should be getting it very soon.
I thought I'd have it today, Blake, but I don't get the mail. The mail doesn't come till afternoon, so I will do I usually do. I will let you know. I'll email you, let you know when I receive that. So
Okay, thank you.
Foundation, like I said, that the one from AGR is that's as of the 30th of June. That's correct, and the SIU one. Susan's going to get me a total on that, but it probably has just a little dabbing interest on that. But we don't have any liabilities currently. Rick sent me the bill the other day for the raffle, Hawaiian raffle, so that's paid. All the prizes are paid out of that. So our net worth's about $115,000 right now.
Why did we pay 17,000 to National? Is that what you said? 17,000 to National?
Or was it 11,000? Maybe it was 11,000.
Well, it shouldn't have been 17 because the whole bill wasn't that much.
It could have been 11.
I thought we were only supposed to pay a third.
I looked on Tadge's thing, and it was it came out on June 30th, so that's why it's not reflected on my income statement or anything like that. But maybe it was 11,777. There were sevens in there, but I don't have that in front of me. But on the income statement, you'll show the rent we received from the active chapter paid through May of the $77.52. Like I said, there's a $3,876 check in the mail, should receive tomorrow. AGR reimbursement $500, and since July, Taj has got $500. 5 different alumni have paid their dues for 2023. And then we have the registration for the summer meeting. The 750 was live in person via cash or check, and the 2,000 was via PayPal. So that shows what our total income is through the 25th. And we paid the rent through the end of September, total since July 1 of 11,400. And the $50 there, I paid, basically I gave Dave Nieper $50 there at the summer meeting for her to get a gift card for Amber at the Crown Plaza. So I paid myself back. I just gave him cash that day. Crown Plaza, that was the final payment on the room and meal and everything. Twyford Barbecue was our luncheon meal. Dave Niepert, that was 32 tickets to the Lincoln Presidential Library tour for $320. Dannenberger Winery, the tea and lemonade or whatever for the luncheon, $54. Dave Niepert for the summer meeting. We got a $50 gift card for Bill Harmon, who's the person out in Lincoln Land that gave us a great tour out there, for taking time out of his day. We thought it was worthwhile for him to for us to get him that gift card. Rick Hyatt, that's the Hawaiian raffle cost for mailing, printing, and everything, $1,036. Rick Hyatt got flowers for Brother Keith Hoskins' service at $172.78. And the other night on the 12th, when we were in Carbondale, we reimbursed Brother Meyer for the meal that was had at Sergio's for the actives and alumni for $396.65. So you can see we're a little upside down right now, but as soon as we receive that check, we'll be closer to being where we should be. Any questions?
I want to ask Blake a question. Blake, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, under challenge coin sales there, under that item, I'm not sure what that's referring to, but last year we bought a bunch of challenge coins we bought them for the active chapter. The notion was that you guys would buy them, I don't know, 10 or 15 or 20 at a time, however many guys you have. And since the first batch that went out last year, hell, maybe it's even been 2 years ago now, I have all the coins. And I don't know if you guys, I don't know what we're going to do with them if you guys don't buy them, because they're part of the active chapter.
Yes.
Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Okay.
We all do want them.
Okay.
Most of us here do want them. I don't know if you know Davis Ham, but I think he's been kind of put in charge of getting that all together. But
give him my email
meeting's
address
over,
and tell him to contact me.
I will, because we all do want them. So
Okay, well, they're pretty nice looking, and I've got them here, but you have to pay for them.
yes, sir. Yeah, no, that's understandable. We planned on it.
Okay, I'll just give him my email address and time to let me know. And I wish I'd have known when you wanted them. I'd have brought them last week, but that's all right. We'll get them to you whenever you guys let me know you want them and how many.
Yep, we'll figure it out.
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir.
What was the comment earlier that you owe Nationals $2,000?
There was an email, Ron made that comment. There was an email that came the other day that showed their semi-annual membership dues, I believe it was, was posted as it's a payable to National now. And it was $2,000 some dollars. I know I think I forwarded that. Tom, you probably got that too, didn't you?
I did, and I forwarded it to Blake and Wyatt.
They're the ones that's going to have to deal with that, and that's how we got into about $12,000 or $15,000 behind the 8 ball. of those bills coming in and not being paid. They've got to be paid, as we look really, that makes all of us, the alumni as well as the active chapter, look bad when we don't pay our dues to national.
Yes, so that was just posted. It actually just updated on our thing. So I just received the email for that transaction from OmegaFi yesterday, I want to say.
Well, the message said it wasn't paid due to insufficient funds. So beyond that, I don't know. So anyway, you've got it. You guys handle it.
It had to be something that was just recent, Ron, because every month I get something that lately it showed, I believe, a $7 credit with National that I've received the last 2 or 3 months. So that's a current bill, not a past due bill for them.
Well, point being, you know what?
Yeah, we want to keep it that way. We want to keep it current.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, we don't know how much to pay until they post it on OmegaFi. So.
Okay. Let's go down to the president's report. Got a lot to cover here. First thing we're going to cover off on is the MailChimp survey. That's active and live now. Rick, about how many responses do we have so far? Ballpark.
We have about 40 right now.
40. Okay. And I'd encourage everybody on this call to get theirs in, completed, and sent on.
I didn't do one even though I did the other night.
Probably.
Okay, I did that hard copy and gave to you the other night. So
no, I need you to do, I'm sorry, Jim, but that was a trial run. I need you to do the online survey.
Okay.
Well, compare answers though, Miller, and if they're not the same, you're in trouble.
I don't have my old one now to go off of.
That's too bad. You have to...
So the second one has to sound better than the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the purpose of that survey is to measure engagement with our alumni, make some changes to the way we do things, and try to basically get better at what we're doing. And 40 in, again, I like to encourage everybody on this phone call, Zoom call, to get theirs in. Rick, do you have any other comments you'd like to share?
No, I'm going to compile the list before tomorrow night, so that you've got everything that's in as of tomorrow, and then you guys can analyze it while I'm gone for 2.5 weeks, and then if there's any more, I'll do a final one when I come back.
Okay, that sounds good. On September 12th and 13th, we had a officer responsibility seminar in Carbondale. We attended the active meeting, and then we paired up folks with their active chapter exec council contingent, and went very well. Mike Nauman, take it away.
Well, what do you need from me as far as that goes? I mean,
I'd like just with
the one
Mike.
Well, the meeting goes really fast compared to back in the days. They throw up a slide and the officers just pretty much explain it. But then, as we did our breakout sessions, I can only talk to mine. We really felt that the vice noble ruler of activities, which is Charlie Connor, who I had, they have pretty much pinned down the right responsibilities under the AGR Connect. So we were happy with that. The only thing we discussed further and between me and him was, as you're doing the activities that he's doing, we really wanted to make sure that if it was a community activity, they understood it was a campus group, or in our case, our fraternity. So like the Adopt a Spot, which is a cleanup, a street cleanup program. We'd really like to see them get like high vis safety vest and maybe have the AGR letters on the back, or even Alpha Gamma Rho, so that anybody passing in a car, one, it's safe, two, it's they're seeing Greek letters. The other thing was we wanted to make sure that any of those fraternity brothers that were other than ag majors and might be in one of the physical sciences buildings were also participating in their groups. And then just to make sure that everybody was always recognized in those groups also, wearing their letters whenever possible and so forth. So we really had a good meeting between myself and Charlie.
Thank
So.
you. That sounds good. Any other questions for Mike? We're going to skip a little bit around on the menu, the agenda, because we are going to go to the summer meeting at the bottom under new business. And I'd like Mike and Jim to just speak to that very quickly with dates, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so at this last summer's summer meeting, I just kind of brought up that everything we had in common as brothers was SIU and AGR, and that I'd like to see a summer meeting go back to Carbondale, since that's where it all originated from. So while we were down there on the 12th and 13th of September, Jim and I drove out to the new Walker's Bluff Casino, and it's right out there on the side of Carterville. As a matter of fact, the Carter, near the Hampton and Holiday Inn where we normally stay for Butters and homecoming. So we met with the Sabina Henry. She's the coordinator for group sales and manager. So she showed us the event room, the conference room. She showed us two suites. One is the presidential suite. One was another suite. Presidential. Yeah, the Grand Master Suite. The presidential suite is on the 4th floor, which is the top floor of that hotel. And it was really nice as far as a hospitality room. And we could bring in our own drinks into that hospitality room. The same with the Grand Master. It worked out where, and each of these suites were really great as far as the women could have their own restroom, the men could have theirs, if we wanted to divide the restrooms up. And so it worked out really well. Once we're in that room, there'd be no reason to really wander about the hotel while we were socializing. So that went well. She took us on an entire tour of the place. So the pool is not open yet. The spa is not open yet, but it's all coming. It should be there within a year easily because everything was nearing completion. But there's a live stage in the casino that has entertainment every weekend. There's a sports bar with nearly 100 televisions in it for entertainment. They have entire packages for breakfast, lunch, dinners, whether we want them plated or buffet, box lunches if we plan on just grabbing our boxes and getting on a tour bus and doing some sort of activity. They can provide that for us. As they set up a conference room, of course, they charge for microphones and podiums and everything else. But nothing seemed outrageous. So the only thing we really need to think about is that I don't think we want to spend the whole weekend just in a casino. So we need to look for an activity around the area. I know the wine tours are really big down there, but like in my case, I don't drink and my wife doesn't care for wine. So, we might need to really pull some rabbits out of a hat and look for a different type of activity. So, so far that's where we're at. I was at a Labor Day party with a bunch of brothers who keep mentioning Galena also as a possibility, but I really would like to see it be in Carbondale or near Carbondale. So that's where we're at, and the weekend would be the last weekend in July. So we're looking at the 26th, 27th, and 28th of July.
Okay.
You
Any questions for Mike or Jim?
want to add something to that?
Yeah,
As
go
far
ahead,
as,
Jim.
like I said, she showed us there's 2 restaurants right now besides the sports bar. We went in both of those. As far as the event center can be divided off into an area for as little as 50 people, or it will seat 1,800 people if you want to have a concert and have just chairs. So they're pretty flexible on that too. Like Mike said, we got to see everything around. The hospitality thing, I don't know what that's going to cost us, but somebody would actually be staying in the adjoining room. But it does have a balcony too. It has a sink and everything like that. A lot of area where we could, set the food instead of just setting it on a counter like we had there. There'll be some refrigerators and just a lot of couches and chairs and just places for people to mingle, I think. And the deal, like Mike said, the fact that you can take your own snacks and drinks in there, like we did at the Crown Plaza upstairs there, ends up being a lot better for everybody on that end. As far as away from the casino, after Mike departed, I kind of had some time to kill around Carbondale. So one thing I did is I drove out to the airport. And I got some information out there. The Southern Illinois Airport has the new Glen Pichard Transportation Center that's only been out there for a couple years. It was dedicated to Brother Glen Pichard. It's where they have the automotive tech and all that stuff. Very interesting. I walked down the hallway, got some information from some people down there with some contacts. Also got a contact number for someone with the aviation department, if we wanted to do something as far as seeing some stuff on aviation out there. We're doing a side tour like we did in Springfield last year. There's a restaurant out there. I didn't go in there and spend any time there, but there actually is a restaurant at the airport that don't know if that'd be a place for a luncheon on Saturday, possibly. There's places where we could go on campus. There's the fermentation place out there that has to do with the Department of Ag. The other thing I told Mike about, and I stopped at John A. Logan College on my way to Marion. I did talk to.
That's right.
I talked to a lady out there. She gave me the name of the person. I said, if we're going to take a tour, we're going to be around Carbondale or Carter. Why don't we stop and see what they named after Jake? I think that'd be very fitting for us to at least spend a little time and see part of John. John A. Logan means a lot to Jake, and he does a lot for. I think it'd be a good as part of our tour to stop out there and see the ag department or whatever they're doing there too. So
Absolutely.
That's something we can follow up on later. But there's other possibilities. But that's just a couple things that I did after Mike had to take off and go home, and I had some time to kill before I went to Marion. So it's kind of a work in progress.
I went out to the casino too, and I think that could be a great place for to center our meeting in if we went to Carbondale. I was really impressed with it. It's quite a place.
Marble floors and the whole bit. It was
marble floors and the whole bit. Yes.
Wow. I always have found when it came to starting summer meeting that you have to start with a place to stay. Jim and Mike, do you want to look into a contract for some rooms and so on for that event? So you place to stay and then you build the activities around that.
Yeah. Sure. One other thing she said about basically, since we really don't know our numbers quite yet, and we do want to try to get that booked up, if we only booked most of the things in their package deals for dinners require 25 people. So let's say we're looking for 15 rooms. Okay. As we go and rent into the presidential suite or the Grand Master suite, that's how they'll divide out the room price then. And then as far as meals also and things like that, they can work some of those prices into the room so that nobody's paying anything extra for other than their room. So it was kind of confusing how she tried to explain it, but we'll get more details.
Okay.
I think it's a good option. Is that someone?
It's much better than just sitting in going to a hotel and a small gathering meeting at the bottom floor or something like that. So,
Well, I think the fact it's brand new, they're wanting to, this could be something that, they give us a better deal just to get somebody there. And who knows, maybe we have founders out there sometime, or whatever, or people come down, for Founders Day in February and know they're going to be there back in July. Maybe they go out there and check it out. Maybe they stay there. I'm going to be in Carbondale this weekend, but I've already got my rooms at the Holiday Inn. But my niece is staying out there on Thursday. I told her about it, so she's going to check it out. That because they're going down at night early and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I might run out there on Saturday before the football game just to, check it out again. But I don't think there's really anything that me and you can get back together, Mike, and figure out where we're at as far as getting some rooms blocked or whatever.
I think you just look at the historical average of your number of rooms and you use that as a starting point to get a contract signed.
We had looked like 39 people at the one in Springfield, but I think there was 4 of them that, Smiley and Marla and Tim and Sue that didn't stay at the hotel. So, I mean, we were probably looking at 30, maybe 15
Right.
rooms or something like that.
Okay. All right. Anything else for Jim and Mike?
My wife says, "You going to do this again?" And I go, "Well, I'm the guy with the checkbook." And I said, I said, I can help Mike out with it as far as that goes.
Okay. We're going to move into a very different subject right now. And we're going to talk to the group about some findings that we have for a very potential new house for the actives and kind of where we're headed with this. And Ron, would you be willing to take it away?
Sure. Well, I think everybody is aware the house that we currently have it's terrible. And I'm surprised that if new members or new pledges see it, I'm surprised they don't turn around and go somewhere else. I think it's absolutely imperative that we replace that house and find them some kind of better digs. And I think this needs to be the last year that we're in that house. And to that end, was mentioned that we were down in Carbondale about 2 weeks ago. Mike Nauman and Gary Kingley and Tom Meyer and I
and Brett Ward. And Brett Ward.
Yeah. And Brett Ward. And we looked at
Hey, you forgot me.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
drank
right. You
some
were
of
the
your
guy. You were the
beer.
guy with the beer.
I drank some of your beer.
Anyway, there were a number of us that were in Carbondale 2 weeks ago, and Tom has been beating the bushes with some realtors down there to find some kind of housing. A few months ago, we thought maybe we had a good line on a house that the Delta Zetas were living in. It was for sale, but as soon as it was found out that we were kind of sniffing around, the house sold. So that went out the window. So subsequently, Tom has run across a couple of other houses. And Rick, if you would put up slide number 1 for us. These 2 houses are on Mill Street. You have to turn your computer on the side to look at those, but these 2 houses are on Mill Street. They're 305 and 307 West Mill. They're about 2 blocks east of the railroad track, or East Mill. I said West Mill. They're on East Mill. they're about 2 blocks east of the railroad track, so that gives you a little bit of an orientation as to where they're located. Now, these 2 buildings are owned by, there's 3 folks that are the actual owners of them, and they've had them there. They were new about 13 or 14 years ago. These guys built them and have owned them and leased them ever since. And they currently are changing their business plan, and so they want to get out of the business. Now, each one of these houses accommodates 24 people. They're split right down the middle into technically, I guess you would say, four complexes, where you see that arrow running up and down. Both of them are split just like that. There's a solid wall in them separating them. And Rick, if you would go to the next slide. Well, that's a good looking slide.
Break my camera.
Sorry,
Rick, you
I
still
only
with
know
us?
one way I'm coming. It's
Oh, there you are. Okay.
yeah. It just takes me. I had to
That's
stop
okay.
one.
That's no problem. No, it's no problem at all. This is kind of an overview of what they look like. And this is just one floor of they're each 3 stories tall. And the footprint is roughly 44 by 24 for each building. So they're roughly 44 feet wide, 24 feet deep. And those are approximate measurements. I don't know exactly what they are, but that's pretty close. So if you go on to, now wait a minute, before you go on, again, they're split. You see the 2 stairs there and the wall. So there is a solid wall there in each building like that. Okay, go to the next plan then, number
Okay.
3.
All right, give me 1 second.
Okay.
3 is coming up now.
Okay, now we're looking at 1/2 of one building. And you see there in that 1/2 of one building, there are 6 bedrooms. The first floor plan is really what I would call I'd call it the second floor, but they call it the first floor. The main floor plan is the entryway, the entry floor, and then the basement plan is there's the basement. And that's 3 bedrooms there, 3 bedrooms on the top, and then the main floor is a kitchen, living room area, and whatnot for whatever you might need. So, like I said, that is 1/2 of one building, and there's a wall, as I said, separating the 2 halves of each building. So, if we were interested in renting this place, for starters, we would probably want them to open up an area between, so that one building would have entryway, so that all of it would have entry from the whole thing. Probably on the main floor there is where your entryway would be to join the 2 together. That makes sense so far? Everybody with me?
Sure.
Okay. Let's go to the next one then, slide 4, to give you a little better idea where this building is at in relation to the university. It's a little farther away than maybe we would like, but it's not bad.
I redid your slide, Ron. I hope
Okay.
this is a little better.
Good. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. This the little blue dots there would be the walking path to the School of Agriculture. If you were walking, it's about 24 minutes, about 1.1 miles. So, if a person had to walk to the Ag Building, that's walkable. You see the student center there in the center of the greenish area. That's about a 20-minute walk. So that gives you a good idea of where these houses are located in relation to the rest of the campus. Now, just about, I mentioned about 100 yards, I don't think I mentioned, about 100 yards directly to the west of these houses is the Carbondale Police Station. So that, and it's new, so that leads me to believe that they probably not a real wild area, like there's been some complaints the area in, or gunfire and those sorts of things. We lost the picture, Rick.
Yeah, I'm bringing up where the police department and stuff is for you right now.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh. I just
Anyway, it's as I mentioned, it's about just a little under a mile to the student union. It's about 200 yards from the student rec center. You can see where the student rec center is there. So it really is literally on the edge of the campus, albeit a little far removed from the egg building. And Carbondale Police Department is up there at the top center of your screen. And then the houses that we're talking about, you see 305 East Mill Street. So that gives you a good idea of the location of these two buildings. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Okay, any questions?
Yep.
Yes, go ahead. Hello? No? No question?
Hey, Ron, one thing I'll add, while we were there looking at the place, the Saluki Transit or whatever, the bus that runs around campus actually goes right past there, headed under the tracks and towards the loop for the ag building and stuff like that. So if someone wanted to, they could actually ride that Saluki Express too.
That's correct. The bus stop is directly across the street. So all in all, it's really a pretty doggone good location. Okay, let's go to the next one then, Rick. What we call number 5. Now we're looking way to the future. On the left side and on the right side, you see the footprint of the two buildings. And then in the center, you see another area that could be constructed to join those two buildings and ultimately create the kind of fraternity house that we probably would like to have. Would house could house 24 people. With the new addition that we could build in there would be a spot for a house mother. It would be with some remodeling in some of the other areas would be room for a centralized kitchen, a commercial kitchen, and also would have room for a dining room. Probably would be room for even a chapter room in the place. So the footprint, as I said, is 44 by 24, which means each building, each floor is 1,056 square feet, and each building has about 3,168 square feet in them, counting the 3 floors. So times 2, the 2 buildings are about 6,300, a little over 6,300 square feet. And if we put an addition in, it would probably add, depending on how we designed it, but 1,500 to 1,600 square feet, bringing the total square footage then to about, oh shoot, I wrote it down here somewhere, about
8,100.
almost 8,000 square feet. So that's a really broad brush overview. Let's go to the next slide, Rick. This is an artist's rendering of what it could look like when it was all completed. Now, one person asked me a question about, well, how would you get handicap access to a building like that when you got stairs going up to it? Easily in the back, you could make a ground floor entry and could have an elevator in the new part that we build in if we ever got to that point. So that would add a few $1,000 probably to it, to the overall picture, but really not not something that we couldn't live with. So that's easily addressed. Next slide. Just a couple of other views, and I think maybe some of you have seen these. I don't know. I think Tom sent them out, but I thought I'd bring them up just for you to take a look at. Just kind of another rendering. Again, the same kind of approach with a little bit different front end. And one more, I think, Rick.
Sorry I left, Ron, but it's raining here and I didn't know what rain was like. It's been so long. So.
Oh, well, gosh, go out and get wet. It's always good to have rain when you're getting ready to harvest your corn.
Yeah.
That's just another rendering. I personally don't like that, but it would be kind of a different approach. And again, I think all three of these, if we ever got to that point, could be an area that we were extremely proud of. Now, Rick, let's go back to the very first one, and I'll give you a little more detail. Back to slide 1.
All right.
Now you see in this slide, there's a huge parking area. So parking is no problem. However, if we join the buildings together, you see what's labeled 305.5 is the driveway. So if we join those buildings together, it would be difficult, not impossible, to access the parking lot. There's an alleyway you can see at the top of the page that runs back there, and you could access the parking lots through there. But a better proposal would be if you look to the left of the screen, the little house 309, and that's just a little dumper, really, with about, I don't know, maybe 40 feet of frontage to the street. Probably not more than 40 feet, maybe 45. But the owners of these two buildings think that could be purchased for about probably $60,000 or so, and torn down and become part of our complex at some point in time, which then could be really a new and a great access to the backyard parking lot. Now, what these places lack that the guys do have at Freeman, they got a fairly decent backyard, but that could be, if we got 309, we'd have a little grass there. There's a little grass if we built in closed in the driveway there and built there would be some grass area there to have little gatherings, and you could always have some gatherings out in the parking lot. So that would certainly be a doable to work those that way. So that's kind of an overview of what we have looked at and what Tom has been able to track down through the realtors. They seem like they are very willing to work with us and whatnot. So again, any questions or comments on what we've looked at so far? Everybody kind of see the general plan.
Another comment I'll make is directly across the street, there's a big parking lot there. Right now, I think it's a staging area for some kind of a fiber optic thing, but I don't see any building or anything going on there. And I think it's probably somewhere that we could access if they had something activity, they could probably access it for parking.
Hey, Rick, can you go back to that sheet that you showed the police department?
Sure. This one.
Boy, that's a great picture. Oh, okay. The area that Jim just mentioned, you see that concrete area there just across the street, that area there. I have no idea what it says right at the top. You can see it says Marion Park. Is that right? Yeah, Marion Park.
Yeah.
So I
That's
don't
what it
know if
says,
that's an actual city park or maybe used to be a city park or whatnot. But as Jim mentioned, that hunk of concrete right now has a bunch of equipment stored on it. I'm thinking for whatever good, bad, and different or otherwise, it must belong to the city, being the proximity to the police department, the fact that it's indicated as Manor or Marion, Manor Park, it looks like.
It's
So
Marion,
Marion,
Marion.
okay. So that's what that is. And if it was actually a park, that'd be fantastic. I mean, who has a park right across the street from their house? Can't beat a deal like that. Okay, so any other thoughts or questions? Okay, let's go back then to what I've called slide number 3. Yeah, I heard a question. Yes.
So I appreciate the work. So is it your vision then that we would try to buy these, or these people are trying to sell them, or we're going to try to rent it, or what?
Who's asking the question? Who is this?
Eric.
Eric.
Oh, okay. I can't see who. Eric, we'll get to that in just a minute. In fact, that's a great segue because that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with the next present part of the presentation. Okay, what we see here is half of one building, and what we're proposing for your consideration is this: that we rent one of the buildings, that we ask the owners to make that doorway that connects the two halves of the one building, and to install a sprinkler system into that house. We asked that we could rent that for 2 years, and we're going to ask that we could rent that for 2 years with an option to lease some part or all of the other building. And within the 2-year period, then we would make an effort to buy the properties. Now, the properties presently are listed. They have them for sale for $714,000 for the 2 buildings, which really isn't too bad a price. As I said, they're about 13 or 14 years old, and the guys that own them now built them. So our thinking is we're obviously not in a position to make the purchase now, but maybe in the not too distant future, we could get to that point, which is another point of our discussion tonight. But here is a proposal and a motion that I would like for the Beta Alpha Alumni Association Board of Directors to bring forth. And Rick, can you put that up, please?
And Ron, I have a couple of addendums to it.
Sure.
Came to me afterwards that we can discuss.
Yeah, that's fine.
Bear with me 1 second.
No, we're not going to bear with you. We're going to go home.
All right.
Okay, there is the proposal in motion that I would ask the Alumni Association Board of Directors to bring forth. I can read it, or
Could someone read it?
the
I'll be
BA
happy to
Alumni
read it if you want me
Association,
to.
on behalf of the BA Active Chapter, directs the Alumni Association President Tom Meyer and President Emeritus Ron Brohammer to accomplish the following: terminate the housing contract with Top Tier Property Management for the Freeman Street property effective at the end of the current contract period, which is the end of this current school year. On behalf of the BA Alumni Association, enter into a rental agreement beginning September 1, 2024, with the partnership of Chris Barrett, Stacy Sisk, and Jim Hawkinson for 305 East Mill, Carbondale, Illinois, for a 2-year period at a rate of $350 to $375 per month times 12. Active Chapter shall be responsible for utilities, including electricity, gas, water, and internet. This offer includes first right of refusal for the BA Alumni Association to rent or purchase 307 West Mill, as well as purchase of 305 West Mill at the end of 2 years or sooner if the renter desires. Owners of 305 West Mill shall install a sprinkler system in 305 West Mill and shall create a doorway between the 2 separate units of 305 West Mill. They shall also allow the letters AGR to be placed on the front of the property. Owners are additionally asked to obtain a first right of refusal to purchase 309 West Mill within the 2-year period. Tom, what did you?
Uh, let me spit it out and then we can formalize the verbiage like we did on the survey. A fencing around the perimeter and general refreshing of the building with carpeting and paint would be provided by the lessors.
Where do you want the fencing to go? Just along the back or around the whole thing?
Hey, Blake, are you still on?
Yes, I am. I'm still here.
Blake, Wyatt attended a meeting with us. I don't know if he shared anything with you about fencing, but it sounded like he wanted the fencing around the back to create somewhat of a more private party area.
That would be good. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is he talking around both buildings? So you're saying we'll move into one building. Is he talking about the whole perimeter of that back parking lot?
Okay. And what else, Tom, did you say?
And a general refresh of the rented property, including carpeting and paint.
Okay.
Okay, here's what carpeting. And what I did not put in here, but we would certainly want to do is they'll be responsible for all of the fixed equipment like refrigerator, air conditioning, whatever is fixed in there. Is that not normal?
I think that's kind of normal. I don't know if we have to include that or not.
All right, and here's what I added then. Additionally, the leaseor owners or whatever, I should use the same. I'll do the owners for now. We can reword that if we need to. If we want to change owners to leaseors, whatever. Additionally, the owners shall provide a privacy fence along the back of the parking lot and refresh 305 East Mill with new carpeting and paint.
Yes, I like that.
I think your fencing has to say east, west, and south boundaries.
I agree.
Okay, along the along east to west.
East, west, and south boundaries.
Of the south boundary. Yeah, okay.
And then the only thing else, Tom, as far as refreshing goes, I think I'd say something like luxury vinyl tile on that main floor and kind of specify carpet in the bedrooms.
Didn't I say refresh of paint and carpeting?
I wouldn't go with particularly high-end stuff if we think because if we think within 2 years we're going to gut this place and or maybe not gut it, but certainly upgrade it.
Maybe just a laminate then.
Okay, with new carpet
on that main floor, and then carpet in the bedrooms.
Okay.
The thing I might add is, whenever I was coming into that unit from the back, the decking was not too good. The deck, I think, needs to be upgraded or just fixed, basically.
Yeah.
There's some boards that look like they were rotting and loose and stuff. Just general maintenance on the deck areas.
As far as the sprinkler system and the letters on the house, how is that going to work out?
Well, they put a sprinkler system in and we put letters on the house. I missed the point of your question.
Are they going to do that before we move in, or are they doing that while we're there? Or
Well, I'd hope they'd put the sprinkler system in before you moved in. It'd be kind of difficult to try to move in while they're putting a sprinkler system in. I cannot answer your question. I mean,
okay,
I guess I would tell them that, yeah, it's got to be in before we move in. That makes
Okay.
sense. We'd be responsible for the letters on the house. I mean, when I say we, I mean Beta Alpha. They would just have to. Here's the deal: if you don't put letters on the house, you don't have to sprinkle it.
correct. That's what I was
Sense
getting
in
at.
anybody's world. But anyway, that's why the sprinkler system becomes important.
Well, and the other reason is to go between those two units, you're going through a firewall.
Well, true.
And that was the other reason for the sprinkler system.
So anyway.
All right, let's get that verbiage in there and then proceed on.
Okay, I've got additionally, the owner shall provide a privacy fence along the back of the parking lot from the on the south boundary, east to west of the building. Refresh 305 East Mill with new carpeting, and new bedroom carpeting, laminate on the main floor, and paint. And perform general maintenance as required on the deck. And I mean, I think they'd have to do that anyway, but we got it in here, so. Okay.
What was the date that you had the new lease starting?
1 September 24.
So what will the actives do prior to September 1st?
Probably needs to be August.
Okay. I was just trying to save you a month rent. I don't
but they
care
want
the
me to place
date.
the
I
lid
don't
while
think they
it's still
care
going on.
either. So we'll make it August 1.
Yeah, we just have to have a place to go and put everything.
August 1, 2024. Okay.
Well, school starts in August.
So then,
So.
I thought it started in September.
so then that's the next.
It's August 1. I mean, that's not a problem. Whatever the date you want, no problem. So on behalf of the BA Alumni Association, what?
Do we own anything in the current house that would need to be moved somewhere for the summer then?
Lots of
No idea.
things. Lots of things. So when would our current lease term be over? I missed that. I'm
Ends
sorry.
in August, I think. I'm not sure.
The lease at Freeman is up on August 1, 2024.
Okay.
So it was just transition
Okay,
right
no
over
problem.
to this one then.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Hey, Blake. This is
Yes, sir.
Jim. You weren't able to be there the other day. I just wanted to know your input as to how do you feel about this? The reaction I got from Wyatt wasn't real positive. Like, are we moving again and stuff? I mean, I know in talking to you, you're one of the leaders and stuff, and you're going to be there at least, next semester and probably maybe in the fall. I mean, what's your opinion of it from your perspective?
To be honest, it makes me a little nervous because we have a lot of things in the house. I mean, it's hard for me to put into words why it makes me nervous, but just for us to move and stuff, it's hard to I would like to see some progress on buying and purchasing and stuff like that. I think a lot of guys think the same way because we almost feel like we're downgrading just moving into a new rental. You know what I mean? So if we can, I don't know how to explain it. Do you understand where I'm coming from though?
I think so. I wanted your opinion because
I think I love the idea and I know it's a great opportunity. It just makes me a little nervous.
Okay.
I think it makes the alumni a little nervous to think about taking on a $1.2 million debt.
I agree.
These two properties, as they set, they want $714,000 for them. We
60
would-
for the,
714,000 for both of them. We think if we bought them for 714, remodeling would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 450,000. That's 1,500 square feet at $300 a square foot. That would put the purchase or the total cost about $1,224,000. If we built 8,000 square feet new, assuming we had a place to build, which we don't, that would at $300 a square foot, that would be 2.4 million. So if we can get into this and play out the plan as we're kind of laying it out, we can get in there for about 1.2 million and have one of the nicest fraternity houses in Carbondale.
I love it. As long as everything lines up right and we can move things over and have kind of a seamless, move in where we can move everything, to one place for the time being. And we'll have to squeeze in there, obviously, but I think it's a great idea.
Well, it's actually bigger than what you have. You can only you can put 12 guys in what you have, but you've only got 10 in there, I believe.
Right. I'm just talking about the
12
common
here.
and like our composites and paddles and stuff like that.
Well, the main floor there is pull up chart number 3, Rick, would you?
Okay,
Rick, can you get chart 3, please?
you bet.
Thank
Hang
you.
on. Let's see, chart 3.
Blake, this is Mike Nauman. I'm sure the actives 18 years ago were kind of nervous too when they got to notice they were being kicked off of Greek Row. So
yeah.
Now look at the main floor plan. So that's what you that's what you would have, which is comparable to your living area on Freeman Street. You got a 19 by 16 living room there, plus you got 11 by 11 kitchen. So I'm not sure. I'm not
You'd
sure
actually have
they're
2 of those,
losing
Ron.
much, huh?
You'd have 2 of those. You'd have 2 of those, Ron, right? Because it's
Yeah.
only half the building.
Yes,
Couldn't one of the kitchens be used for the chapter room?
it could be. I mean, now as long as we're in a rental situation, we're not gonna, I mean, we're not. But yeah, you could
Not
use
knock
it.
walls out or anything.
No. But yes, you could use it for a chapter room. You could use it for storage. You could use it. I guess you could even put a couch and chair in there if somebody wanted to take a nap. It's got a bathroom, a half bath right there off the entryway. So Blake, I'm not sure that you'd be losing much space at all.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? Remember now, as Rick Story pointed out, this is half of one building.
So
Correct.
you'd actually have 2 living rooms, 2 kitchens, and so a lot more room than you currently have. And I know, Blake, you can't see this because you're on the phone, but if you didn't
right.
get the drawings, I'd be happy to send them to you after this.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess I understand now. So you guys would put us in one of those 2 units where we would have the full building and we'd have 2 kitchens, 2 living rooms, 2 sets of washer and dryers, that type of thing.
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
And
and
if you wanted to, we could at the same, as long as we had people that were willing to pay the rent, we could rent half of the other building or the other whole building. And as we make this transition, so
Okay.
you potentially have
Up to 24 people.
both buildings.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you now. I understand. And that's something we can kind of figure out getting closer to time, how many guys are actually going to be in the house and how many units we'll really need. I think that's more flexibility than we have now.
Well, I think the alumni position is that if we start making this transition, I think we've got to have an agreement that we're going to fill the house. I think it'd be very difficult to rent this. Well, if you only had 6 people, which would be very sad, you'd only have half of one building or half of one building. That would make me very sad if we only had 6 that wanted to live in the house.
Well, we've got a full house now, so it's about
Yeah.
12. So that'd be about right for one of those units. But if
Yeah.
we needed more, we'd have that other building to move into potentially.
That is true.
Within- for
But
the
we
meantime,
but we
before
would
we
need
get
to know
going all
that,
the-
fairly soon down the road, or
Yes.
fairly
Um,
early.
I'd like to interject for just a second to the group. We pretty much have to have a statement to the owners by Thanksgiving what our plan or path forward is for one or one and a half of these buildings. So I just wanted to share that that's kind of the timeline that we are throwing out.
Okay.
I think probably practically speaking, our best move forward is to assure ourselves that we can rent and we can fill one building with the notion of moving forward with this kind of overall plan that we looked at.
I'm very confident that we can fill a full unit, or 2 units. Sorry, I guess
Okay.
a full building is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Right now, and then once if we do get to the point of building onto that, I'm confident that the house is going to sell itself.
I think you're right. I think when the guys I think when they moved out of Freeman and got into this, again, the only downside I see is it is a little bit farther from campus, but Wyatt said everybody's got a car or truck anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Does anybody in the room have
So
any
in one
questions?
Yeah, in one of the emails, Tom, you put something about there was some discussion about a new Greek row on campus.
Yeah, I'll touch base with that briefly. It kind of like, to use Ron's favorite expression, a fly in the ointment that came along very late in the game. And what transpired is that we had a meeting last Friday with Greg Webb, Matt Kupik, who is with the SIU Foundation, Susan Graham, myself, and Ron, and we told them what we're doing and this all got prompted by a meeting with Susan on the 13th of September, and she shared with the foundation as well as with the chancellor what we were trying to do. And in so many words, I think we motivated them to say, you can either be with us or not with us, but either way, we're moving forward with or without the university. And they set up a quick meeting last Friday, and we have another one this coming Friday to discuss a Greek row. And we don't know what they're going to say. And we're going to give them the chance. But the reality of it is that the university is a government agency, slow to react, slow to respond, and has other financial priorities at SIU Carbondale. So neither Ron nor I are confident nor hopeful that they can do anything on a Greek row. If it occurred that it could happen in a fast manner, we might be willing to change our tune.
This proposal that we've laid out here does indeed give us an opportunity to bail out if if something realistically did happen at the university, but I'm not optimistic. The thing that scares me about the university is, I've been associated with it since 1962, and it's been 14,000, it's been 23,000. Now it's down to 11,000, and a couple of years ago it was down to about 9,000. The leadership was totally anti-Greek. We were told you will never have Alpha Gamma Rho on this campus. It will never happen. Then they softened their stance and let us move on to Greek row, but we were still never going to be anything other than LEAC. Then the administration said, well, okay, you can be a fraternity or a Greek fraternity. And it's been up and down. And, if this administration, they do seem to be somewhat friendly to the Greek system. But this guy is only going to be here for, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever. And then there'll be another one. And the next guy may hate fraternities. And I can assure you that there won't be a new Greek row built within 5 years. So, I'm very nervous about trying to get into any partnership with the university.
In closing on that comment, one of the things that that we heard from Matt Kupik and Susan Graham is that Chancellor Austin Lane's vision for the university is to bring as many students and have them live on campus as humanly possible. And so that would mean Greeks, that would mean, variety of people. So what that translates into in terms of real action, I have no idea. But when we have our Friday meeting this week, we'll update the board with what they say. But it's hard to be optimistic that they can turn things on a dime and have any kind of a real plan for us as fast as we need it to happen.
Are there any other questions or comments on the proposal that we have put forth here?
Hey, Tom, DJ.
Yes, DJ.
Interesting about the university, but I would just say that it's interesting. Okay. And like you guys have said, it coming to fruition, it could be in 2 years, it could be in 10 years. We don't know. But what we do know is our folks need a house now. So I think we need to really seriously consider this 305, 307 deal as it stands right now. And I would make that motion that Ron said earlier. And so that, I guess that's my comment. I move that we follow Ron's motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay? Motion passes. Thank you.
I think this is exciting myself. I think this is for the first time and since we left Greek Row, I think this is a real positive.
There there's two other things on our agenda, and I'm going to switch it around. And the first one is Chuck put forth a proposal to raise money, and I'd like to hear from Chuck.
He needs to unmute. There you go.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Now you got it. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, well, Ron and I had a long chat about my proposal, and I have been made aware that that's not the path the board wants to take. So I respectfully remove it. Thank you.
Thank you. But Chuck, I want to express the appreciation for the time and the effort that you put forth into it. And it means a lot that your heart and soul went into it. And I just want to thank you publicly for putting forth that proposal.
Well, Ron made it clear that you're going to go with Pennington. That's an old whore in a new dress. we've been dealing with them for 20, 25, 30 years, and it's never gotten off the ground. So I wish you well. I really do.
Hey, Chuck, I think you kind of overstated my power of persuasion there. I think
I
what
think I
I
was
really
right on the
left
money.
you with that I
Ron,
didn't think there was a
Ron, I was
snowball's
right
chance
on
in
the
hell
money.
that you could get 25 people to pony up $25,000.
You haven't even tried. You've done nothing.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. You've done nothing.
But we've tried to get the
No, you
Pennington
you haven't gone out and done shit.
well, there you go, Chuck.
Yep.
Chuck, I thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'll be in touch, Tom. Thanks. Good night.
Yes, thank you. The
I got to say that is not the way the conversation went, but my main point with Chuck was with his notion, and you know, it might be possible to do that, and if you could raise that kind of money with just 25 people, we could go and buy those two houses and then have an additional fundraising effort to figure out how to get the money, say $500,000 more to do the modification. But Chuck's whole premise centers on the fact of getting 25 people to pony up 25 grand a piece. And that's fraught with problems because first of all is finding those 25 people, but second, the problem is how do you store that money? How do you control that money? How do you track that money with no guaranteed structure? And I think the whole thing is fraught with danger, even if you could raise that much money with 25 people. And if anybody thinks I'm dead wrong on that, speak up for now and forever hold the peace.
When I read Chuck's proposal, I had that thought too, that maybe the numbers just needed adjusted, more donors, less dollars, one way or another. But I also reading his proposal, he was looking more for maybe some possible corporate donors also that had strong connections to AGR. So I really liked reading it, and I really thought it was it just probably needed some tweaking is all I thought. I thought the plan itself was good, but then Ron, you bring up the idea, where do you store that money until it's used?
Well, he's put a lot of effort into it, and there are some merits to it. But I'm very skeptical that we could get there. The problem is the same with this. The problem is the same as if we go with a Pennington or anybody else. You got to, one, figure out who's going to donate, two, how much are they going to donate, and three, how are you going to actually get the money in your hand, and then four, store it until you're ready to spend it. And therein lies, in my mind, the biggest. Well, that's the four main problems.
Well, Ron, this is EJ. Storing the money is no problem. You open up an account. The issue I see is, are these folks investors or are they benefactors? And it kind of looked like they were investors, somewhat from the proposal. And, I wouldn't.
Chuck,
What
we
I
see you
saw
there.
though was we were investors at basically no 2% return or something, minimal return. But then whenever the chapter wanted to take it, they were going to be the benefactors of the house. So whoever donated the money to buy the house was just giving that up. And since we're not a 401c3, we weren't getting any benefit.
Right.
Well, one way or the other, and it can be done privately, or it can be done with a company. One way or the other, you have to fundraise. whether you do it in big chunks of big contributors, or whether you do it in smaller chunks of small contributors, you have to fundraise, and that's where it always stops. We never bite the bullet and really go into the fundraising mode. As Chuck said, yep, we ain't done shit.
Well, here's what I have, some new information for you. And this is probably going to prove to be an uncomfortable conversation for us, but I think it needs to be had. There's been a lot of conversations over the last 90 days with a fundraising company named Pennington. And late today, I sent you their proposal. And to do an exhaustive study of finding out what kind of funds are available from a core group of donors, which then would be spread out across the alumni base. There is, for lack of a better word, about a $30,000 charge to do this study. And this is sort of like an analysis of what can we raise, what's the feedback, what's the direction that we want to go, and how do we get there. The cost for a Pennington to come in and raise $1.5 million comes out to about a 10% fee, give or take. So they'll take about $150,000 from if we were to be successful. But at the end of the day, we have to find out what we can raise and whether it's realistic to go forward with it. I jumped on the phone this afternoon and I did some dialing for dollars. And I'm going to keep the donors that I spoke with confidential for right now. But I made about 5 phone calls this afternoon, and I have commitments for about $9,000 towards this Pennington study. I am fairly confident, but I can't promise you here that I can raise, with the help of everybody in this room, the $30,000 to fund the Pennington study. And there is a buy-in from a small group of people that I had time to call this afternoon to say we have to try to move forward with fundraising, because fundraising is a science, it's an art, and done wrong, it'll tick your constituents and your donors off for the rest of their lives. Done right, you can raise more than your goal if you're successful.
Hey, Tom, did you happen to send Pennington the statistics I sent you?
Yes.
And ask them what they felt?
Yes. He told me, he gave me somewhat of a flip of the coin type of.
You froze there, Tom. He must have didn't pay his cable bill. There he is.
We didn't hear anything, Tom. You froze.
You froze at the flip.
My internet connection is unstable. Hold on just a second. Can you hear me now?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sorry about that, gentlemen. But
it happened.
what was told to me was that it was like a flip of a coin. Murray State had to go back to the drawing board. They need to do some work. Florida State raised about $1 million more than they intended to raise.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let me say a couple of things here about our volunteer dues of only $100 a year, and our participation actually runs about 3 to 4% better than national AGR. So even though we think we're small and we're not getting a lot of responses from people, we really do pretty good at kind of a low key effort that we've exerted over the years. I want to say, as Chuck did mention, that we've been dealing off and on with Pennington for many years. For 2 years preceding Tom, I had several conversations with him. Steve Wyatt preceding me had conversations with him. So it's not that we have not. I mean, this has been brought to the people over and over with this notion, but this is the first time that I know of, that I can recall, that we've actually brought it to the board with a real plan in hand. And I think with these two houses, with the potential, I think we've got a real plan in hand here. And I think if we can raise about $1.25 million, I think we can get this. I really think we can do it. Now, Tom, I'm reading here under fees and expenses. I only see us initially committed for $25,000. 10 when you sign the contract, plus $1,000, plus 10 on the first day of the second month of the contract, and then 5,000 payable upon delivery of the feasibility study. So we can do the feasibility study, know where we're standing, and then before we actually make the hardcore commitment. Am I missing something here?
Just a little bit, but not much. There's a line below there that talks about some travel expenses and some things that are part of the feasibility study.
Yeah, I would see those as, I would see those as being, relatively minor compared to the. So I guess my point is we don't have to commit to the hardcore till we actually have a feasibility study that says, yeah, you guys can do this, or you ain't got a chance. So I think that's. Is that right?
I think you are essentially correct, but I want to hedge my answer, Ron, by saying that that we probably better say 30, so that we cover our feasibility study and initial expenses.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that. I totally agree.
I'm not trying to split hairs with you, but I don't want to come up short and have somebody say, well, how come you guys didn't budget for that last $5,000?
No, I totally agree. I absolutely agree with that. I just considered the initial fee of 25 grand as being, but yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There probably would be another 3 or 4 or 5,000 there. But point being,
I don't.
Go ahead.
My personal opinion is if we can't raise the $30,000, cover the feasibility study, we're wasting our time. I also think that if we don't do the feasibility study and start the process, we just need to forget about it and just be happy renting. We need to do something. And I think we need to continue to do what Tom has did today and call a few people. I don't think it will be that difficult to raise the $30,000. Most people will give money to something. It's when you're giving money to the unknown that gets difficult. In this case, it's going straight to the feasibility study. We know directionally what the costs are. So I am in full support of doing the feasibility study.
I agree with that. And plus, Taj has 20,000 in his account also that potentially some could be used for the feasibility study if it was board approved. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So we got 20,000 there.
What
you're saying, if we really got behind the 8 ball, we could still pay the bill.
Well, what that tells me is I think we need to make a motion tonight, start the process, make the first payment with the $10,000 out of that account as we're raising money to cover the feasibility study. Because time is going to be a little bit of the essence here. When you look at that study, it's 10 months just to do the study.
Correct. And if we use 10 out of the account, and Tom, you got 9,000 just off the phone, that's 19 of the potential 30. So I agree. We should start.
Wish you guys had been around 2 years ago.
We'd be too.
Everything takes time. Everything's a process.
I'd like to ask the people that are in the room that are smarter than I am, and DJ, I appreciate your forward thinking on this, but here's kind of a nuts and bolts question about this money. This money, I guess, would be set up in a separate account, or would it go to Jim Miller, or would we be able to give 501(c) if we went through anybody? Tell me more.
I think as it's collected, it would just go to our bank account and then go directly to Pennington.
Will
Okay.
Nationals, if we give it to Nationals, will they pay for the feasibility study through the foundation?
No, they can't see your head shake, Ron. He can't.
Nope.
So
No.
I'll just.
No.
Is there, I have given you the briefest of overview on Pennington. If you have time, please read what I sent to you this afternoon. They have a track record in the industry, and I just want to share a quick side story with you that makes me feel good about this particular angle. Back when we lived in Columbia, Mo, went to a Catholic church, and they hired a professional fundraiser, and it's very scripted, very organized, and there is an art and a science to fundraising, and done right, it can be successful.
The Lutherans here in Lee's Summit did the same thing. We raised $2.5 million. Just, I mean, it was just a piece of cake. Same thing.
I'm not saying it's going to be a piece of cake to raise the money for what we're doing. I just want to say that I'll commit to the group that I'll get on the phones, and I will get as much as I humanly can from a core group of people. But I already have between $7,000 and $9,000 this afternoon from some phone calls.
So am I understanding correctly then that what you're suggesting is we get a commitment up front before we make a motion to even do the feasibility study? Is that correct?
You already have a motion on the floor, Rick.
I understand that, but so do we just vote on the motion and go forward whether we have the money or not, right?
Well, I think you pointed out we have the money, don't we?
Well, we have 20. We have 20 if we drain the account, right? Jim, you tell me.
All right. Yeah, it's $20,088 and something. So you need to leave something in. I don't know how their account's set up there. We need to leave something in it. You know.
I think
I'm not disagreeing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just trying to understand, Tom, what you're saying. When you,
I guess what I would like to do is maybe amend the motion to say up to 10,000, and I hit the streets and attempt to raise the other 20. I don't know how you feel about that.
so you're saying don't
I'll give
start
you
the
1,000.
feasibility study until you get the other 20.
But I don't want to hamstring myself in terms of having time is of the essence. But I'm fairly confident that I can raise 20. But this is a really decision for the board. I don't want to put us in a bad spot, and I don't want to overpromise to the group of what I think I can do.
Let me clarify one thing here. Somebody mentioned my favorite thing, a 501c3. 501c3 is for charitable donations, and this will not, and never will qualify for a 501c3. We do not have a 501c3 for Beta Alpha Alumni Association, and my doubts are that we will ever have it's just not the way 501c3s work, because we're not a charitable organization.
Okay.
But I mean, seems like this always comes up, but it don't work that way. You can funnel it through AGR for the building fund, and it can go 501c3, but only about 40% of it can actually be used for construction, because it has to be for things that are for education, like libraries, computer equipment, furnishings in the library, those sorts of things. I know some of you are tired of hearing me rant about this, but I don't want people to think they're going to make a $5,000 or $10,000 donation and be able to write it off on your taxes, because you're not.
Okay.
And historically, as Ron has pointed out before, we typically every year get around $10,000 to $11,000 in donations. So even if you started with the 10,000 up front, we have the other 10 if we drained the account, and potentially by February we'd have another 10. I'm just spewing potentials, possibilities.
How about we have another meeting in 30 days or 2 weeks with an update, and then but we get the motion on the floor as to what we're trying to do to move some forward progress. DJ, would you want to reshape this to put it in a way that can make people comfortable?
Let's see.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Actually, what I was going to do, Tom, is I was going to table the motion for 2 weeks and reconvene and see how your little ad hoc fundraising was going on the 30,000.
Okay.
I know time's of the essence, but is 2 weeks going to kill us?
No, I don't think so.
Well, nothing's going to happen in the 2 weeks anyway, so I'm
Right.
fine with that. The other thing
So
that we need to also remember, if we make the commitment, we're committing to, we need 20,000 within 30 days, because one's due with the
Right.
contract and one's due at the next month. So we need
Yep.
we need 20,000. So it's not like we can give 10 out of our account and then raise some. We need some commitments, and so I think if we wait 2 weeks and have another call, I think we'll be in fine shape.
And Tom, if they want to send you checks, give them your address. Because you are correct, Ron. It is not a charitable donation. This is to the fraternity, not to a charity.
Yep. Checks should be made
Okay,
payable
Tom,
to
I
Beta
moved-
Alpha Alumni Association and sent to Jim Miller.
Yep. But yeah, let's table this, guys. I move that we table the motion on the floor for 2 weeks and reconvene at that time.
So the next meeting will be, unless somebody has a calendar in front of them, let's just say the group right now what that date is.
I will be out, just if it matters at all. I will be unavailable until after October 17th.
How about October 18th?
I can do that.
That's a Wednesday.
Okay.
That's school board meeting for me. So I'm out.
Thank you.
I mean, the 19th, anytime after the 17th is okay for me.
We're going to make it Wednesday because Tuesday is the active meeting, and we need to try to work to give them their time so they can be on our call unabated.
Who said
but-
they can't be there, Tom?
Um,
That was Eric. I got school board meeting on Wednesday night.
We could do it Thursday. How about Thursday?
Need to make sure you got your quorum.
yeah, we need a quorum. It's very
Need
important.
everybody you can get.
How about Thursday? What does everybody on this group say about Thursday?
Thursday's
Yeah, I'm good
fine.
on
The third
Thursday tonight.
third Wednesday is fine with me too.
Thursday it'll be.
I'm good Thursday.
Eric, we
DJ,
want you
okay?
on there. We need everybody warm body we can come up with. Doug?
I might say I don't care what night it is. Whatever can work. If you can hear me,
We can hear you.
Yeah.
I think you
Yep.
can.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. I'll put a challenge out there to everybody, and I know we don't have all the pledge classes here or anything, but get on the horn and call some of your pledge brothers, and that's put them on the spot, and it'd be a good way to reconnect a little bit, and we can all do it.
It's uncomfortable, but I asked Jake Rendelman today. I just blew I just blew it. And I said, Jake, I'm going to cut to the point. Can you help us out? And he says, I'll do basically a minimum of 2,500. So sometimes bluntness and forwardness rules the day. And just seconding Doug's idea, put a challenge out there.
You do want to be careful because you don't want to rain on the parade of the real fundraiser.
Right. One
So
thing,
don't shoot your wad all at one time.
Right.
Unless
right.
we raise 600,000.
But $2,500 will get us there, plus a little extra change. Okay. Is there anything else, anybody else, for the good of the order?
Would you come up with the actual date of the meeting?
Thursday, the 19th, Doug.
19,
o'clock.
19. Okay. That's my bingo night.
Or you can take your computer with you.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Some of you on this call, maybe you get a call from me in the next week, and don't shut your phone off and don't block me.
You're gonna do it at 7:30, Tom?
Damn, I already did, Tom.
No, 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I had. Anybody else have anything else? I just want to say thank you to everybody for your time, your attention, your listening, your ideas, and let's move the group forward.
Get a
All
motion
right,
to
thank you.
adjourn.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Tom. Great work.
So moved.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, Blake, you still on there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hey, anything going on this weekend? I'm gonna be down for family weekend. So you guys gonna be around over at the tailgate on Saturday?
Saturday, yes, we
Football
are planning
game?
on grilling out, and I think we've got some ribs and stuff we're gonna put on. And I think it's family weekend actually. So
It is. I'll be
I-
down for that. I'll be
Yeah.
so
yeah, so there should be a pretty big group of guys here this weekend.
well. I'll look around for you guys. Stop by. Well, wife and I'll stop by and say hi.
Okay, if you can't find us, just give me a call. I'll tell you where we're at.
Okay,
All right.
sounds good. I'll let you know when that money arrives.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Night.
Rick, you guys have a safe trip,
Thanks, Ron.
and
Thanks,
have
Ron.
very best wishes and congratulations to the newlyweds when that occurs, and hope everything goes well.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Bye now.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.